Hey people, welcome to this episode of the Visionary Experience. We're back in full effect. COVID cannot hold us down, right? What did he say? Oh no, I got to keep on moving. So today we have back in studio, all right, Stephany DeBerry, Gordon, some kind of mix in between there from Steph Sells the DMV. Listen, we're not going to get into her background. We're not going to do all that. If you want to learn about Stephany, listen to On the Go with Steph Sells the DMV. We did an amazing podcast actually about a year ago. Yeah. In fact, I was down in North Carolina and she was up here in the DC area. So check out that podcast. You will learn a lot about her entrepreneurial experience and her business experience. So welcome today, Stephany. How are you?
Thank you, Brandon. I'm good. How are you?
Well, you got some nice color, you know.
Yes, you too, a little bit.
There you go. There we go. So we're going to dive right in.
Okay.
All right. So as we were talking about the other day, I know that you're getting into business coaching or real estate coaching.
Yes.
So share with our audience what you're doing and how that endeavor is coming along so far.
Actually, the coaching is coming along great. So for those that don't know me and haven't had the chance to listen to our initial podcast, I am Stephany DeBerry of Steph Sells the DMV, licensed realtor here in the Washington, D.C. metro area for 15 years, maybe a little more. Recently decided to become a coach last year because I noticed there was a void in that space, in particular for agents of color.
Right.
And when I came into this business 15 years ago, I didn't have the mentor and the coach, which I now know and I've learned over my 15-year journey is just inevitable. You need someone to guide you.
Yes.
You need that accountability partner in order to be successful in this space. And so I decided to be the change that I wanted to see. And I enjoy serving my agent partners and clients. I was a certified mentor with ExP Realty, which is my current brokerage, for 5 years. And then I decided to shift that into coaching because coaching is another step of accountability for my agent clients. So far, so good. Not only do I coach, I also have webinars.
Okay.
You and I were also on the Black Real Estate Weekend, which was a huge event.
Amazing.
Dr. Boyce Watkins, the Black Real Estate School. And from there, I actually launched the Black Millionaire Real Estate Agent program. So a couple things under my belt, but the whole thing and the reason why, like I said, I got into coaching is because I feel that we need it and there is more than enough space for all of us to be successful, and I enjoy sharing information, resources, and tips to assist those agents.
That's amazing. So with your coaching, right? So give me some examples of some of the coaching tips and some of the guidance that you give those whom you're coaching.
Okay, so with my clients, every agent is an individual.
Okay.
While we all do the same tasks overall, what I do with my agent clients is I'll have an intake form and I really help them build on the strengths that they already have. So each one is different, but what I've found for the most part, whether they're a new agent or an existing agent, confidence is huge, right? You can learn what it takes to pass the exam. Right? There's millions of us that have done that. But what does it take to go from passing the exam to become a successful real estate agent? I can teach you the tasks. I can teach you how to get on social media. I can teach you the importance of following up. I can teach you how to have a successful listing consultation. But what's the missing ingredient? The missing ingredient is how you feel about you, your belief system, and who you are in this space.
I like that.
And that's a big deal. And that's one that especially a lot of newer agents and even existing agents haven't really given a lot of thought to. Right? Who they are and what area of the market they want to tackle. Right? Because there's a huge ocean out here of clients, right?
Free advertising.
Right, free advertising for this book. That's a gift from Brandon, Blue Ocean Strategy, but it's so true. There's a huge pool. We can't serve everybody well, and at some point you need to select a niche or a certain demographic that you want to work with and work that thing.
No, absolutely. Well, that leads into what I wanted to talk about a little bit more because you're building a team.
Yes.
Right, you're putting together your team, and I'm sure it's a mix of newer agents and some more seasoned agents.
Yes.
So share with our audience, how do you approach the newer agents right? Versus some of the more seasoned agents and experienced ones, and building your team specifically.
Okay, in building my team, my new agents need a lot more hand-holding, guidance, that initial mentoring. They're still trying to understand the systems and processes of what they're doing, because it's a lot. What a lot of folks don't realize when they get into this industry, and I think they do it because it looks good, right? We have HGTV, we have Millionaire Agent, we have all these amazing shows.
Right.
So people get involved not realizing all the work that goes on behind the scenes, behind these multi-$1,000 commission checks. So for my newer agents, it's getting them acclimated to the day-to-day, the processing, making sure they know how to even speak to a buyer.
Right.
The importance of having a database, how to set that up, so on and so forth. For my existing agents, some of them, when they come to me, they've fallen off a little bit for the most part, right? And they're looking for guidance. And that's okay, because it happens. When you've been in this industry 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, and you feel like you're still spinning your wheels, you need that, how do you say it?
That spark?
Yeah, that spark, that recharge,
That's
right?
right.
That's
That's
what I call
right.
it. Yeah, that recharge. So again, it's helping them in particular, because while they've been out here, they may have some transactions under their belt. They still don't know who they are.
Right.
They still haven't made a decision. Which direction do I want to go?
Right.
And it's not as exciting or fun for them. One thing I want to make real estate for my agent partners and my clients, to me, you need to enjoy what you're doing.
Yes.
If you don't enjoy it, you're just chasing a paycheck.
Yes.
Right? And you and I both know we are in a service-based business.
Yes.
People are our business.
Yes, they are.
And if you don't enjoy people, this may not be the thing for you. And so just making sure that they're in the space that they want to be in, and then guiding them through the process. But I do say each coaching client is different.
Right.
Each of my team members is different. We have a Winning Wednesday call,
Okay.
where we all come online, and it's kind of like a check-in.
Right.
And weekly inspiration. And then what I learned from that, though, is I also follow up with them individually, because for a half hour, 45 minutes, we come together. But then based on their comments, based on things that they're sharing, I realize that they each need individual attention.
Right.
And so for each one, that's going to be different. And most times than not, it's just that boost of you can do it.
Right.
You signed up for this. Quitting is not an option. And we're winners. That's why it's called the winner's circle.
I like it. I like it.
Yeah. All we do is win. DJ Khaled. That's our theme song.
That's right. Ooh, she's starting to get into a
Every
little bit
Wednesday.
of the inner
Every
circle
Wednesday.
of visionary lending, behind the scenes type of stuff.
Exactly.
Yes, yes, absolutely. So, okay. So you've got your coaching, right? You're building your team. So how have you found it with your family life? You know, being a great mom, right? You know, mixing your professional aspirations, right? Travel, EXP, all this, and also making sure that you're raising your family and you're doing a great job with them. How's that balance been?
That balance, I've been blessed, because even when I was married, my husband was very involved. And even as a former husband, he's still involved. But my children have been involved in my business too, though.
Okay.
And
Share
I
about
say, if someone has children or young people in their lives, get them involved. Like, look, now I have an 18-year-old daughter that is now an agent. Never in a million years did I think Chanel would be an agent. My oldest is 24. Right,
Okay, yep,
he's
yep.
licensed. You've done a couple of deals with him.
Yep.
But having my children involved, and what I'm doing with business and coaching is an asset for my children, right? It's great for them to be exposed and to hear. And I hear from my daughter, she listens to everything that I say to my clients and to my team. So they pick that up. But for me, the balance comes from what I said earlier, figuring out who you are, your passion, and I work my business around my family, around my vacation time. When you first get started, a lot of times you feel like you gotta run after
Yes.
clients. You're chasing clients, you're chasing commission checks. When I got my coach about 4 or 5 years ago, she taught me, plan my life, or plan my business around my life, not the other way around, right? So I know church is important, right? Church, vacations, family time, anything I want to do, I'm doing it. I'm living my life now. I'm not going to wait until I make a certain amount of money, because we do that sometimes. I'm not going to wait till everything appears perfect. I do it on a daily basis. And one of my boot camps is teaching my agents how to make 6 in less than 8. 6 figures in less than 8 hours a day.
Okay.
Why do I need to do this 40 plus hours a week? Now, if I do work my business 40 plus hours a week, then I need to be in the next stratosphere as far as income. But once you decide, or that agent decides what's important to them and the income that they have in mind, then we can strategize so you work smarter, not harder. But I didn't come into real estate to do 40 plus hours a week. But I see a lot of agents do that. Some are successful, some not as much, right? And that just depends on a daily basis what they're doing versus what one is not doing. But I think we can take control. We can design. That's what I call it, designing my whole day.
Yes.
Designing my life, and real estate just fits where it needs to and helps me do the things I want to do. Wisdom
here. So you brought up something that made me think about the conference that I went to the other week, and with regards to family, with regards to the business that we're doing, and they talked about profit versus purpose. Like, are we trying to do more for our purpose or our profit? And we had some small groups, and anyone who knows me knows that I'm doing this more for purpose,
right?
Because of my my background, because of where I come from, what I believe. But at the same time, I just can't be this person that's like, okay, pie in the sky dreams,
right? Because
that doesn't pay the bills,
right?
That doesn't put revenue on the balance sheet, right? On the profit and loss, and it doesn't help you to have a successful company. But I think at the same time, being able to have that vision of what you want to do,
yes,
right, as an individual, but also inspiring and motivating your team,
yes, that
will translate itself into profit. And so how has that been for you, being from Rochester, New York, right?
Woo.
Upstate New York,
home of a bunch of companies,
right? Being from Rochester, New York, having traveled and had your business down in Miami, Florida, having been a successful businesswoman in different areas. How have you been able to balance those two things, the purpose behind what you do and also making money from it?
Right. And that's interesting. It took a while for me to do that, but I firmly believe if you live your purpose, or what we think is our purpose, because many of us are still trying to fine tune that,
right.
The profit will come. Or they say, live your passion.
Right. Passion,
purpose, it does come. And I realize that when I say we're service providers, I realized a long time ago, I enjoy assisting people. Now, how am I going to do that? I've always worked in service outside of having my own business. And then in having my own business, it still goes back to assisting people, whether I'm making them a great meal with my salad company, or whether I'm helping them build a legacy through home ownership.
Right.
And I firmly believe, I believe God and all his angels have shined down on me because it comes from the heart.
Right.
Right? The checks are great. They're fine. Like you said, I do believe God doesn't want any of us to struggle because he's given us gifts and talents beyond what most of us even use in our lifetime to use.
Right.
But not just for our gain, but to assist other people.
Absolutely.
So what better way, right, is to use what he's endowed me with and share that with others. And so for me, I really had to say all is well. I know I'm doing what I can do.
Right.
I know I work with my clients and give them a great experience. Haven't had many issues in 15 years, which is an amazing track record. I'm going to start enjoying. And God has just aligned, just set it up. And one thing I learned from my coach is plan out those experiences as well. Sometimes we don't do that. While we're serving, while we're giving, we're not planning for our own personal experiences, a way to create memories with our family, a way for our children. We're always putting things off. Well, COVID should have shown us, right? We need to do more of that. Right. And so being in this space, and I think just being aligned within myself, helps me to see how important that is. And I just refuse to accept anything less. I know the doors of heaven have opened, and I'm just living my best life right now. There's no other way to say it. I wish I would have done this sooner, but it's a mindset.
It is.
It takes time.
It is.
And then we've been conditioned to think there's only certain ways to attain success, but you have to be willing to step out on what God has given you, and that's faith. Right? Step out. So now with the coaching, that was stepping out. I was already mentoring. I'm already having conversations with agents, and agents are like, oh my gosh, I need to hear this from you. I have a mentor. My mentor isn't this good. I'm thinking, wait a minute, Stephany. People are telling you that you have this. Why aren't you using it formally? And so when I made the decision, I just feel like everything is just lining up.
No, absolutely. That's amazing. And it makes
It's a decision.
It is a decision. And, I've even thought about, in alignment with what you're sharing, like in having a mortgage company and providing services for people, I can either have, my focused vision, but I need to balance that also with peripheral, knowing what's going on around me.
Right.
But I learned a long time ago not to focus so much on that, because that's a distraction. What other people are doing, comparing. And, as you're talking, I'm thinking a lot of the more seasoned agents, they may say to themselves, there's so many real estate agents out there. There's thousands of them, especially here in the DMV.
Right.
This, that, and the other. And what they're doing is they're psyching themselves out.
Already.
Becoming their own worst enemy. Whereas the newer agents, I just had one here for lunch last week. There's more of that blue ocean type of, there's infinite possibilities that they see. And I think we lose that along the way.
Yeah.
Right, because you have a variety of different experiences, which, unfortunately.
Kind of knock you a little.
Yeah, get us off course. They get us off course. And so what do you do with those seasoned agents, right? Kind of going back a little bit to your coaching and building your team.
Right.
That, they do have some passion, but they've been knocked off course maybe just by having some down years, not reaching the expectations that they thought they would have.
Exactly.
Trying their best.
Right.
But not quite getting what they thought they would get out of it.
It goes back to dreaming again.
Right.
So it's so funny you say that. These new agents come bright-eyed, bushy-tailed. They can take on the world until someone knocks them down. Our experienced agents, like you said, they've been through some things. And it's funny, I did a cute little Facebook video last week of me getting on the swing set next to my house, right? Got on the swing set because I said, we don't do this enough. We don't go back to how we were as children. As children, you thought you could do anything, right? Or your parents could give you anything, right? It's just limitless for them. As soon as I sat on the swing and I filmed it, it automatically takes you back to being a child. Whatever was on my mind, whatever was stressing me out before then was gone.
Right.
I think that is so important for experienced agents. We got to get back to dreaming again, even just adults in general. We got to get back to dreaming again. We got to get back to planning again. You got to find out what excites you. What is your why? Why did you pay for this class 20 years ago? Why did you get your license? It goes back to them trying to figure out who they are in this space and living their purpose in this space. And it's okay to dream, even though you've been knocked off. Every day, new mercies, new opportunities, right? We're not living this faith thing. We're not, even in our businesses. We got to pick this thing up. So that's what I do for my newer agents. Actually, I'm going to be doing, my experienced agents that are in a slump is a vision, right? I always do vision boards. But we're going to do it between October and November, helping them cast their plan for next year. But getting in that space of dreaming. And I think part of that, too, is on a daily basis. Are we saying our affirmations? Right?
There we go. Yeah.
Are we speaking what we believe so that God and the universe can work with us? I just heard today on one of my inspirational calls, the universe is friendly towards you and all that you want to achieve. So you think of the word friend and you think, okay, we work together, we've assisted each other, we help each other. But can you imagine the whole universe working on your behalf? Most of us can't, right? We can't even think that deep overall. But it's important that we get back to that space, dreaming, affirming, realizing who we are. This is deeper than just helping folks buy a house, create a legacy. First, you got to figure out who the heck you are.
Right.
So then you can better assist those people. And so that's what I try to get to the root of with my team, because they're getting coaching too, and my coaching clients. It's helping them figure out who they are, what their purpose is, and how they can live it in this particular space.
No, you've touched on so many different things. It's funny. I hear a lot of people talk about the universe per se, and and I believe that, and I follow that to an extent, because more my personal belief is I'm going to follow who created the universe, because he's on my side.
Exactly.
Absolutely. And the thing is, you talked about something about figuring yourself out. And one of the things I've worked on personally, have done research on, is really having a level of self-awareness. When we can have that self-awareness of, okay, what am I feeling? What am I thinking? Okay, how are people even perceiving me? What do I need to change so that I can be better to help others?
Right.
That's really part of the foundation, because if you don't have that
Huge.
self-awareness, everything that you're going to do is going to be clouded.
Exactly.
You got to have a very clear picture.
And you can't just follow what everybody else is doing either.
Right.
You have to know who you are. And so we
Yes.
call that our UVP, our unique value proposition.
UVP.
Or
Sounds
some
like
people
sunscreen.
say, right? And I needed some when I was in Florida. Or some say your unique sales proposition, but I
Okay.
like value.
Yes,
right?
I
We
like
bring
that.
value to our clients.
I like that.
And so figuring out based on your past, a lot of people come into real estate, they've had other jobs or other experiences or other businesses. Okay, all of that is an asset. All those experiences are meaningful.
Right.
How do you channel that into this space and helping them even come up with a couple sentences of who they are so that then they can go after their target market? And that takes time because you ask people who they are and they're like,
Yep.
that's a good question.
Absolutely.
Right?
It is.
So we just got to dig a little deeper
Right.
beyond the surface of transactions.
Yes. Yeah, and there's so many videos and this and that about transaction versus relationship, but it's true. And I think if we really approach it the proper way, and we were talking a couple of minutes ago about purpose, and shameless shout out for my next podcast, The Purpose Driven Business. Check it out. Comes from The Purpose Driven Life, book that I've read like 3 or 4 times. But if we have that drive, if we have that fuel and that push, right, then when times are down, or not going as fast as we want, or we have different challenges, it helps us to get straight through.
Exactly.
It gives us exactly what we need. And I know that there have been many times, especially over the last year and a half, I've definitely needed it. Whether through
all
prayer,
have.
meditation, talking to people, reading this, going on a vacation, just unplugging for a few days. As human beings, we really do need that. And I think that we will do ourselves a favor.
Yeah. Because even though we're in the relationship business, what's the relationship with yourself like first, though?
I agree 100%.
Right?
100%.
What's the relationship with yourself like? How do you talk to yourself? Again, those thoughts. Our thoughts create everything.
So we're going to switch gears really quickly here. So let's talk about the fall real estate market. Okay.
No.
Here in the DMV. Can't speak about other places. Here in the DMV.
Yeah.
So what's your experience been over the summer? Because it was a wild and crazy summer.
It was.
And we're looking
And now
at the
it's
fall.
over.
Yeah, it's like crazy. So what are your thoughts generally?
Yeah,
with regards to
generally.
the DMV fall real estate market coming up.
Well, over the summer, we saw seller market just to the next stratosphere here. Properties not even being on the market a couple hours.
Craziness.
Multiple
Yes.
offers, multiple viewings, overbidding by, up to 100,000, sometimes more. Right now, I think it's still a seller's market, but I do see more inventory coming on the market.
Okay.
I think we're cooling down a little bit, just like the fall is coming in. It's still hot here in the DMV today, but I think it's cooling down some.
Right.
So I still do believe this is a great time, definitely for properties to hit the market. We need the inventory. Great time for buyers to buy. You would know about the interest rates and whatnot. But I do believe sellers just need to have a little bit more realistic expectation that I think it's kind of going back to normal. Right? And normal is, okay, your house can be on the market for 2-3 weeks. That's okay.
Right.
We were just so used to 2 days
Yes.
under contract, right? So I just say it's cooling down some, set realistic expectations if any of us are agents that are watching with our clients. Buyers still need to be prepared though.
Okay.
Still write, I think, competitive offers.
Right.
Right. I'm not saying you have to forgo your home inspections. Just write competitive offers with your agents. I don't think it's a bad time. I think it's a normal time. I think we got a little spoiled.
Yes, we did.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
especially if you were a listing agent. We were rocking and rolling.
Yeah.
Over the summer. But it's okay. Now we're getting back to work, right? Because when things don't move quickly, what do you have to do? Work.
Right.
And a lot of agents don't realize that. There's work in marketing these properties when you're a listing agent. I have a listing right now, and I'm like, oh my goodness, what's going on? Every day I got to plug away and make sure I'm presenting that listing to the masses, right? Not just put it in the MLS. For buyers, continue to go out with your agents. Be strategic. right? Look at homes that you know may be a good fit for you. Don't waste time. I still would tell my buyers, don't waste time lollygagging, right? Because you may miss some opportunities, but I think they're still there on both sides. I think the playing field may just be leveling out some, just a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen that in terms of some of the purchases, several of the purchases that we've been working on. Sellers aren't necessarily giving any money. Well,
I don't see them giving as much still.
Money. Yeah. There are some that are giving some money, but I have found that the properties aren't on the market. I mean, they are on the market a little bit longer.
Yeah.
And the main thing that I've seen so far, and you're absolutely right, incrementally, is that there's not 10 offers per property.
Right.
You may have a multiple offer situation,
right.
two, three, something
exactly.
like that. But to me, that's a better ratio versus like 10.
For our buyers, yeah.
Absolutely, because I've said to multiple people, I'm like, look, I'm not trying to discourage them, but it's like, if you're not realistic, people will go out there, they'll have this expectation, and they get angry. Because, and then they'll get angry at either the lender, well, my pre-approval letter isn't as strong, or they'll get angry at the agent because they didn't get the house that they wanted when they wanted it on the first offer. Even though they made their highest and best, somebody came in with something even better with regards to an appraisal, cash offers, waiving this, waiving that.
Exactly.
And people, the sellers may have not have been realistic because they want everything on a silver platter, white glove treatment.
That's changing.
And buyers were unrealistic because they still were thinking that
sellers were going to give
them whatever. And it was just like you just have this knocking of heads.
Yes.
And I think the people who ended up purchasing homes had realtors like you that said, look, you need to strategize.
Right. It is a strategy.
Right.
Definitely. And I'm telling my sellers right now, too, because some sellers, I went on a listing consult yesterday in Maryland, and beautiful, only 2-year-old new home, basically. And the wife is like, oh, my gosh, are we still going to be able to get $100,000 over asking? I'm thinking, I'm not going to say no, but
$100,000
So I'm just like, I don't know if that's going to work out. And multiple offers, I guess that kind of would soothe the ego of some of our sellers. But you really only need one good one.
Yeah.
I don't need 20 offers that I have to prepare to show you, to analyze, to go through. You need one good one. So I think, all across the board, people were just getting way entitled to some extent.
Absolutely.
And it's just like, doesn't have to be that difficult. And you got one good one that meets your needs, whatever those were, before we decided to put your house on the market. For our buyers, you need the home that's going to work for you. And it may not always be that first home that you fell in love with. I always tell my buyers that. But what I do assure them is the home that is for them is there.
Absolutely.
It's for them.
Yes.
We just got to align with it.
Yeah, we've talked about that a lot.
Yeah.
And I think we've talked about this, and I've mentioned it several times, is that sellers, in my opinion, really care about two things. Just two things. I want to make the most amount of money from my sale, and let's close on time.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really about it at the end of the day, if you're really thinking about it. When you may have
They're
some
moving
peripheral
on.
stuff. Absolutely. They want to make what they want to make. That's why they list their home at a certain price.
Right.
Because it's going to net them a certain amount of money.
Exactly.
And whether they're moving into a new home or whatever plan they have, that contract date is not arbitrary. It's not just random. It's there for a reason.
Yes,
and you want to be able to
make the date.
Make the date or exceed the date, so at least you have some flexibility. And so I've tried to explain that to buyers. I'm saying, listen, don't come in offering something low. Not in this market.
Oh yeah,
you're going to waste your time. You're wasting your agent's time in writing the contract. You're wasting your time in terms of setting the wrong expectation.
Exactly.
You're going to make yourself frustrated.
Yeah, this isn't a clearance rack at Nordstrom.
Right.
Sometimes people think that, well, let me just try to go for that's not how this is going to work right now.
Nope, not right now. Not right here, not right now. So, year to date, right? This is 2021, right? Late last year, Pfizer came out, Moderna came out. There was some excitement about 2021. We're going to kind of hit it ground running, horses running. Year to date, what are some areas where you feel professionally that you've grown?
Ooh.
Versus, some of the challenges of last year. What are a couple of areas where you have actually seen personal or professional growth so far?
I would say personal growth, definitely just spending more time with myself, just doing some healing work, reading, professional therapy. Therapy works, guys. If you work it, it's very important. So on a personal note, just making improvements, right? Because I do believe we're here to constantly evolve, to learn. I always say I'm a leading learner, just always wanting to learn and to grow. So internally working on that, which I feel only translates into my professional. So for me, more of a day-to-day basis. How I set up my day is huge. Because sometimes I still struggle with the discipline and setting my schedule as I should. I'm getting better with that. So just, again, planning my day, making sure I do more of my income-producing activities. Because what I also learned, because I'm still evolving in this space, one is that I enjoy getting out with people. I am the social, I am the networker, I'm a connector. Right? So what I had to do was hire a team. Big for agents, right? Hire a team so they can do the things that I don't necessarily enjoy, which is the paperwork, which is processing my transactions so that I can go out, I can meet my clients. I don't have to call them. I don't like cold calling, right? I do what works for me. Again, that goes back to learning who you are in this space, your skills, your gifts, and how they become an asset. So for me, taking that leap and saying, okay, if I know I'm not going to do these things, paying somebody else to do them. And that is a leap because it's an investment in my business.
Absolutely it is.
And a lot of people may not see it that way, or they feel, well, I don't have enough money to do that. There's ways. Right. And I try to teach agents that very early on. So that was huge for me this year.
Good. And just on that note, there's a book by Michael Gerber. It's called The E-Myth Revisited. And basically he talks about the entrepreneurial myth in terms of when we start to do something on our own. He gives an example of a lady who has like a pie shop. And, at first she's the one who bakes the pies. She goes to the front register, she sells them.
That was me, simple salads.
Absolutely.
Everything.
When the day is done, she's sweeping the floor, she's taking the final tally, she's doing this, she's doing that. And she just got tired. She got worn out. And then eventually, she ended up hiring someone to help her, but that person eventually left. And then she was back at square one and she needed some help. She needed some assistance.
That's how you scale.
You have to be able to scale. So hearing you mention that is critical, in terms of small businesses, larger businesses, but you're not going to scale unless you're able to let go.
That's hard.
That's extremely hard. When I first hired my first processor, Chris, I was doing everything by myself for years.
It's hard.
It was so difficult because really the letting go was about trust. I was used to doing what I do, the way I do it, when I want to do it, how I want to do it. And I had to eventually give that to someone else. And so now it's almost turned where I'm like, take it.
Because now you have other things you want to do for your business and grow in other directions. You can't grow if you don't get assistance. It took me a long time to learn that. My coach taught me that. She said, hire help before you need it. New agents don't think they need it. Existing agents, they feel like, oh, I've done it this way, like you said. All this time, I know how to do my paperwork, I know how to do this. Well, how do you expect to be able to see 3 to 5 clients in a day? There's no way you can do that unless you have other people handling the back end and other things you need.
No, absolutely. And the thing is, in the very beginning, I would think, okay, now I got to pay another person, this, that.
That's what we always think.
And that's a trap because you're not able to have the IPAs, those income producing activities. I wrote that down to remind myself because the more we're able to do the income producing activities, it's going to happen. The money is going to come.
You don't have to worry about how much do I have to pay? How much am I going to bring in? If I can hire this person to do that. And it could just start them out part-time. It may not be full-time. It could be even less than part-time. But if it can get you out to bring more in, you're not even worried about the pay piece. Again, it's how we think of things.
It's really an evolution of in a growth,
in our thought process.
In our thought process, absolutely. And so the second half of my question is, so year to date, what are some areas where you still see yourself needing to grow? We have a couple of areas where you may have made some progress, but you haven't really gotten
Still
quite got
needing to grow.
Yes.
I need to, at this juncture where I am right now, because I asked God for so many opportunities and he's given them to me.
Right.
Now, right now, as I'm talking to you, this is a real live moment.
Okay.
I need to make a 5-year projection.
Okay.
5 years, I want to be done.
Okay.
Right? I want to be done with the day-to-day as I'm doing it now. I want to be totally leveraging my team and being able to speak, coach, teach, and possibly even opening up my salad shop on the beach somewhere.
Nice.
But totally walking away from the day-to-day, going out, meeting clients, and allowing my team to do that as I'm growing my speaking and coaching business.
Okay.
Yeah. Maybe less than 5 years.
All right. So in 5 years,
We're going to come back here? No.
we're going to be here in 5 years. We're going to be in some either big old studio.
Right.
We're going to be sitting on the beach.
Yeah, let's do it from the
With
beach.
a non-alcoholic drink, for me at least.
At least,
You know.
yeah, for me too. I don't really drink.
Yeah, no, but we will definitely talk about that. And in fact, as we have you on again in several months, a year, whatever it is, we can come back to this and see the progress that you've made.
Yes.
So as we begin to finish off, you talked about your vision board.
Yes.
And so typically in the fall with companies, we begin to strategize and plan for the upcoming year.
Yeah.
So what are some things that you're planning for, some strategies for yourself as we finish off, and also for your team members,
Right.
Coming up into the spring of 2022?
Well, with my team, I'll start with them. Continuing to motivate, inspire them, helping them get a daily system, right? We know this, getting their system in place so they can start running, right? Like a little well-oiled machine. What was it, the engine that could? I think I can, I can't, right? Get them up and running. And incorporating my speaking and coaching into that.
Okay.
So for me, that is hosting a couple more webinars before the end of the year, as well as next week, what's today? Wednesday?
Today's Tuesday.
Oh, Tuesday. Next week,
Feels like
Wednesday,
Wednesday.
I have my first paid speaking engagement as a SME, subject matter expert in real estate. So using that as a launch pad, something I never thought about before. Getting in front of other corporations. This is a government contracting company. So getting in front of other corporations to offer my expertise. So planning that, giving myself an opportunity to maybe hit a couple more of those in the beginning of the year. Definitely hit icon status. That's a big goal for me with ExP.
Right. Yeah, we talk about
Gotta
that.
hit that. And then still professional, but also personal, is venturing into investments. I looked at investment properties this year, but where I'm from, specifically in my hometown, upstate New York, Rochester, they still had the moratorium for renting. And so what I didn't want to do, as much as I want to get a property, is get into a situation where people aren't paying their rent. Because it is happening. People that were paying are taking advantage, right? And so I'm like, you know what? Be wise, right? Don't just jump into this and then hit the fan, right? So I really want to get some properties by the end of next year. That's big for me because I don't want to just live this thing on a day-to-day. I want to show, again, agents. A lot of us are not investors. How to start walking that line too.
Absolutely. I think if you're kind of practicing it yourself, it gives you a lot more credibility when you're talking to people.
Exactly, because there's one thing too on the day-to-day, residential agents, to own your own property, right? Whether you live in it or investment. Clients do ask that sometimes. They're like, well, how do you know the benefits? You don't own your own property, and that's okay. They can ask, and for years, I was still able to work with them. But I do think it's important, right? We're teaching this for a reason. But I also see a lot of folks getting into investment that are clueless too. So again, just having the expertise, education, and implementing that. So I can show agents, even if you don't have 20 properties today, because we always compare. You said that earlier. Too many folks are doing too much comparing. There's still time, you can still win.
Right.
I think that's important too for all of us, right? My agent team, my clients, my coaching clients, is understanding, even if you felt like you missed you missed it this year, we're planning for next year.
Right.
It's not too late as long as you're still here, because I see too many agents doing that. comparing themselves to, top producers. Gain inspiration, be motivated, but also goes back to knowing who you are.
Right.
So that you can win too.
So being patient, having a plan.
Having that plan, give yourself some grace.
Okay.
Got to do the work, but you can't compare your journey to someone else's.
Agreed.
Right?
Right.
Because I know plenty of successful top producer agents, and they may work 40, 60 hours a week. That's not what I want.
Right.
Ask them how they're doing that.
Right.
Is that going to work for your lifestyle? If so, run with it.
Yeah.
But a lot of times we just don't know the behind the scenes.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
And it's an individual thing.
No, I agree 100%. So listen, this has been a fantastic conversation.
It has been.
Yeah, so
Thank you.
Thank you, absolutely. So listen, people, if you want to get a hold of Stephany, if you want to learn more about Stephany, she's about to tell you right now.
I am Stephany DeBerry. He just threw that over.
That's
I'm
right.
Stephany DeBerry, Steph Sells the DMV. If you're looking to buy, sell, rent, invest, DC, Maryland, Virginia, and even beyond, guys, we have a team all across the country that can get you set up in your home or investment property. If you're an agent that's looking for an amazing brokerage, contact me. I've been with EXP for 8 years, and I'm also assisting agents with coaching, whether they're with me or other agencies across the country. I look forward to speaking with you.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for watching this episode of The Visionary Experience. We love you. Stay safe and see you again soon.